Hello, welcome everybody. This is Blab About Wine, and today's show is all about our summer wine picks, and hopefully through our summer wine picks, we introduce you to some new ones, and there's some people later on that come on and join us. I am Jen with Wine Antics. I am a certified advanced wine taster, and today I have got a special little treat. I'm going to open on air, so this could get really dangerous because we all know how this goes. It's cava.
Are you going to savor it?
No. I will leave that to Allison.
Nice.
So, no, I'm just going to, hopefully. Oh, it's working. Yay.
Yeah.
Oh, that was kind of disappointing.
No, that was fine. That was perfect.
But yeah, so I am drinking cava, which, if you don't know, it's basically the champagne of Spain. This one is medium dry, which I'm surprised it doesn't say brut or demi-sec or something like that. But medium dry. Oh, it says semi-secco. There you go. Rondel. I have not had this brand, and I'm excited to give it a try. What are you drinking, Stub?
Bam.
Or introduction.
I'm Stub from corkme.com and Blab About Wine. I'm drinking the Charles & Charles Rosé from Washington State. It's 100% Syrah Rosé, if my memory serves. And it should, well, no, it's not. It's a Syrah heavy. But it also has Mourvèdre, Cab Sauv, Grenache, Cinsault, and Counoise.
So, look at all that. Yes. I just wanted to keep pouring, actually, just to watch it.
Right over your keyboard. That would have been awesome.
It's okay. I don't need that. Look at that. You can even
Cheers.
See. Cheers.
Yay.
Yeah, that's a nice shot, actually. Cool. All right. So I've written down 5 that I'm excited to try, and some of my favorites that I enjoy for the beach, outdoor festivals, anything that's warm, and you want something light, refreshing, bubbly is always preferable, and that just keeps it matching with the season and keeps it matching with the food as it changes and we move out of winter. So, which is really interesting. I think I may compliment right off of what you're drinking, and I recently found out that Mourvèdre is actually a product in Cava Rosé.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not realize that. So that's a sparkling rosé. I have not tried that, but I love Mourvèdre, and I don't taste many of them coming out of Spain. But it's summertime. What's better than a sparkling rosé?
I dig the sparkling wine for summer. I almost opened a Prosecco myself tonight, but I figured that I don't know. I figured I wanted this because I had my heart set on it all day, actually. Yeah, but sparkling's great. You can go with champagne. Prosecco is a really good choice, though, for summer drinking, especially when it's really hot, because you're probably going to just kind of go through it more quickly than you might otherwise. So picking that Prosecco or Cava, maybe at a smaller price point, find one that you like, is a great pairing, and is awesome for sitting around sipping while you're grilling outside as well, before you move on to the main event wines with your with whatever you're grilling. Unless it's a great summer salad.
Yes.
Chicken, then yeah, just keep on drinking the bubbles.
Well, I was thinking when I was coming into this, I've had a lot of wine in the last week. It was National Wine Week on Wednesday, and then I had a Languedoc tasting where I had 5 amazing wines, and I feel like I've been drinking wine all week. I just want a beer.
Yeah.
But I came on here, I'm like, all right, I can't do that. But as close as I can get to like that refreshing, bubbly, little bit of effervescence is with a bubbly. Like, that is the way to go. If you're on the fence about wanting to enjoy a certain type of ambiance and atmosphere that would be best paired with wine, but you're really in the mood for something light and just easy to drink, definitely go towards the bubbly. And this is the 3rd cava I've tried. I think I like the medium dry. I personally like Prosecco, which is a little bit on the sweeter side. And I don't like the super, super bone dry unless I'm adding something to it, like the orange juice.
We're gonna change your mind, Jen.
I know. It's not that I won't drink it. It's just that if I'm doing it by itself, I prefer a little bit of sweetness to it.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. That's awesome.
So that was interesting that I hadn't known that Mourvedre was part of Cava Rosé sparkling, the sparkling part, and I love it on its own. And you're drinking a Mourvedre blend
this
of
is
a rose.
Syrah heavy. It's only 8% Mourvedre in here, so.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, this is a nice little blend. This is always Syrah heavy, year after year.
And what was the producer again?
Charles and Charles.
Oh, not Charles and Charge.
Not Charles and there is a Charles and Charge here because there's two Charleses that do this thing. Charles Smith, and why is the other Charles last name escaping me? They look like rock stars. They literally do. Sammy Hagar. Charles Smith looks like Sammy Hagar.
And what was the price point on that?
I believe this is around like $14 maybe at the grocery even. Somewhere around there. It's under $15.
Yeah, that's where I am too today.
But these guys are both super awesome baller winemakers in their own right. Charles Smith's a winemaker at K Vintner. And he also has his own label, Charles Smith Wines. But these guys got together and just started making some crazy blends and doing some stuff together. And all of their stuff is generally at a smaller price point. What is happening? Oh my gosh.
I'm so sorry.
Wow.
Don't mind the obscure noises in the background. So did you have another one in mind?
So I think of everyone thinks of whites when they get there. When you think about summer and the like. One of my favorite white wines across the board is the Pine Ridge Chenin Blanc Viognier blend.
Very specific.
Out of California. No, it's a very specific wine.
Wow.
I think we've mentioned it before, but it is amazing with seafood. It's amazing with grilled chicken. It's amazing just to open and sip on a warm day. And I think that comes in about $12. And that is, I can't remember exactly where it's made in California, but it's amazing. So that Chenin Blanc Viognier, you get the tart, you get the fruit that comes with it. It's got good acid, so it's going to stand up to any food you want to do. So like a nice grilled chicken salad in the summer, it's going to stand up to, the dressings that you're going to use for that. Going to be great with seafood if you do some, grilled scampi or grilled shrimp and then throw some scampi-like sauce over it. It's going to be amazing with all of those things. Or just to pop open a bottle and have by yourself within an hour.
See, that's my prescription.
I've heard.
Yeah, that's kind of how I roll. Like I will pair with food. Of course, I will do it, and I'll try to find complementary things. But I always like to talk about wine in the context of its individual nature. Like I just don't think along that all the time. I really enjoy wine, and I think food. Don't blast me, foodies. That food comes kind of second to it, but that's just my perspective. I am actually pairing my cava with some strawberries. That just keeping it super simple. I mean, it's all about summer. Yeah. Nice. It's fun that you mentioned Viognier.
Okay.
I actually did so yesterday for National Wine Day. I did 3 periscopes. One was out via, yeah, I know, right? Because I had an interesting 3 hours.
All
I'm just
right.
gonna say.
Okay.
So my first one was on Viognier. The second one was on Carmenere. The third one was on Mourvedre. And those were 3 varietals that people aren't super familiar with, especially if you're on the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely don't hear very much about Viognier, unless we're talking French. And then just Carmenere. It's one of Chile's national wines, well known, but they don't always label it like really prominently. I don't feel like that. I feel like they kind of say it's a product of Chile and then go with it.
Right.
And then Mourvedre, which I've fallen in love with both on the Rhone side and from Texas. So my second choice, which I have actually had quite a bit of Viogniers, but I have a lot of blends. I've had a lot of different Viognier blends here locally, in Virginia, Pennsylvania, and in Maryland. I think, when I was reading up on it, it talked about its likeness in texture and body to Chardonnay, but I feel it is so vastly different than Chardonnay. I feel sometimes Chardonnay gets lost in stainless steel, and then sometimes it can turn into this oak bomb with a lot of aging. And that's what it's unfortunately well known for, is that oak bomb. But I feel like Viognier, in contrast, really showcases its fruit. It's with like pears, mango, kind of like tropical flavors to it. I don't know if you have any ideas or sentiments on Viognier.
Yeah, I love the Viogniers, and I will say, it's kind of the state white grape of Virginia, the Viognier. And I've always said, if you go into a Virginia winery and the Viognier is not palatable, just pay for your tasting, stop, and go home, because probably nothing else is going to be good. Now, I say that, but even in the last couple of days tasting, there's some different profiles that people are doing now with the Viogniers. I personally think the Viogniers are done best when they're aged for, a short to a moderate amount of time in neutral oak. So you get a little bit of that. But like the Viogniers, to me, you always get the honeysuckle, you get the tropical fruits, but you kind of get that honeysuckle. And on occasion here in Virginia and Maryland and Pennsylvania more, and I've got limited experience with the Pennsylvania wines, Viogniers, and less in Maryland than I do Virginia, but on occasion they will be a little bit flabby. So you get it. For me, the Viognier has to have that acid backbone to it to carry all of those other things, especially on the palate. Like the Viognier nose is almost always amazing. But yeah, I love them. I love the Viogniers, but for me, just a little just neutral oak treatment, neutral French oak, and put those things out and drink them. I mean, chill them up, and they go down beautifully.
They do.
And for me, a lot of times, because even the best mades of them, sometimes you'll have a little bit less acid than you might otherwise like. Pair that with some more acidic foods, for my money.
I agree.
Yeah.
One of our good friends and winemaker at Port Leonardtown Winery just bottled her, I think it was Vidal Blanc. That's also what I wanted to hit on, because a lot of the times when you see a Viognier on the menu, you'll also see a Vidal Blanc, and it's a little lesser known. Outside, for me, I feel like outside of Virginia, it's a little lesser known. I don't know that it's grown on the West Coast very much. You could probably speak to that. Yeah.
No. It's not really. I mean, I'm not saying it's not at all, but no, Vidal's not something you're going to see there on the West Coast at all, probably, like in any large capacity. Thing here on the East Coast, it grows pretty well for a climate, especially moving further north. A lot of times, though, Vidal it's made into a sweeter wine. But if you can get people, there are some winemakers who are doing it bone dry, and you still get some great stuff. But a lot of times the Vidals are either going to be in a sweet wine, or they're going to be pass sweet wine straight into dessert wine. Yeah. So not even like, hey, a sweet summer sipper, like a no joke, this is a dessert wine. But yeah, Vidals are great. A lot of people use them to blend to give a little bit of body to some white blends as well. And add some character to it. So yeah, it's a nice little grape.
It is, and I think I've had it sparkling as well.
I don't know that I've had a sparkling.
I think I remember it have.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I have had it sparkling, and I want to say I had it at one of the wine festivals, and it may have been Big Cork a few years ago. Okay. I may be lying, but I'm pretty sure, because they were doing a regular dry Vidal. They were also doing a dessert Vidal. Like, they were maximizing the heck out of the Vidal that they had. But I feel like it can have the right acidity to it to hold up as a good local bubbly.
Oh, and I tasted a sweeter white today that was a Vidal Heavy Blanc or Vidal Blanc Heavy blend, if not 100%. And I was so shocked that it was sweeter. It was done sweet, but it also had the acid to carry it, and it was delicious, like surprisingly delicious. So I was very happy to taste that today.
Very nice.
Tasted
And
and
you'll
bought things I normally wouldn't buy today either, by the way. So I was happy about that.
oh well, that might be in the after show.
We might be able to chat about that a bit. Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. So I've kind of gone through the two that are, I don't really think about talking in the summertime, but I definitely do want to enjoy, the Cava Rosé. And then I've had Vidal and Viognier over years, but my more stable base is the next three.
Okay.
And my number one on the list, if you can guess it, because I think I've mentioned it more than one time, is Sauvignon Blanc. I am a big acid grapefruit, underripeness, grass lover when it comes to Sauvignon Blanc, and of course from Marlborough. I tend to focus my whites on grocery store because it tends to be. You think about the mode that you're in going into summer. You have to run into the grocery store or a wine shop quickly, get something at the right price point, and head out to a party. I love Scarborough, which is a brand. It's actually, I believe, E&J Gallo's brand, as I found out not too long ago.
Right.
And then Nobilo. Nobilo has I think it has 2 or 3 levels of Sauvignon Blanc as well. So you don't have to just get the bottom tier. I think there's a mid-range and then a higher range as well.
Don't they have like a different color stripe on each of those or something like that, if I'm remembering the label correctly?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure the really low brand is just plain, like blue and manila kind of color, beige. And then they start putting silver.
Right.
And some kind of embossment towards the better brand. So you'll be able to pick it out that way if the price doesn't tell you.
Right.
So those are many of my go-tos. I'm starting to branch out from New Zealand into French Sauvignon Blancs, which they've been very, very appealing as well.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I know you love the Sauv Blancs. I would tend personally more towards the French styles on the Sauv Blancs there, but a great pick. Once again, light, easy drinker. Have it with cheese. Have it with a salad course. Have it with a main dish salad, and it's delicious. So yeah, but Sauv Blancs are amazing, no doubt, and great choice for summer. But that acidity and that grassy notes you get from the New Zealand ones. I mean, every time we go to the beach, we always pick up a couple of those.
I know.
Here's Sauv Blancs, and if we travel with one specific friend, she's like, "Oh, we're getting Sauv Blancs," and because I'm pairing it with this food that I'm making, so she's like, "Go pick us out a New Zealand Sauv Blanc." And
I think everything we've talked about kind of really matches really well with fruit, with salad, with chicken, with fish.
Yep.
I mean, these are summer courses, summer things that we're thinking about, but you don't have to be intimidated by that. Like you could put any of these against a pork chop, a grilled pork chop. Oh my God, amazing.
Yep.
Or a steak. A lot of people pick, red wines with steaks. A good, nicely salted, a little aged. You wouldn't do it? Oh, I would. I mean, it's not a traditional pairing, but if you're sitting outside and you got the complement of a salad with some nice dressing, and then you're eating steak on the side, I will do a Sauvignon Blanc.
I would not do a Sauv Blanc. I would do a bigger bodied aged Chardonnay.
Oh.
No, like a properly, not some big butter bomb or whatever, or not one of these light stainless steel ones. I would do a proper Burgundian style chard with a steak. But mainly because I probably was having Chardonnay with the course before, or I wanted Chardonnay with the shrimp or lobster I was having with my steak.
Oh, very specific.
So I will double fist with a Chardonnay with my shellfish and a big old red with my steak. I don't mind doing that.
No.
Switch back and forth. Just have a bite of bread in between. It doesn't matter.
And that's a fair point. We haven't actually talked about too many reds.
We're gonna get to some reds. I'm gonna get to some reds.
Okay, you get to a red then, because I think I segued.
Cool. Well, I actually have one more white if I can throw that in there. One of my favorites is Albarino. Albarino is amazing. Spanish Albarino. There are some places here in the States, even on the East Coast, doing Albarino or trying to do Albarino, and I've tasted a few that I really like the wines they're making, but they don't have the classic Albarino profile to me. Albarino, you're going to get this nice acidity. You're going to get the fruit. The acidity just wraps your tongue up. And then you get the fruit component. Some of them you'll get a little bit of a salinity of those. And Albarino, when I think Albarino, I absolutely 100% think seafood, and very specifically shrimp and lobster. So if you're going to do some shrimp, if you're going to throw some scrimps on the grill, open some Albarino and go to town. Like, you could almost dip those things in the Albarino with some butter, and it's going to be amazing. But Albarino is one of my favorites, and it goes great with cheese. It also goes great with fruit and the lighter chicken salads or fish, if you're grilling some fish or something, or some lighter fish, obviously. But it goes great with pretty much all seafood, and it's so easy to sip. And if you love that little acid kind of sting to it, that is amazing. And that will hold up also to heartier dishes, surprisingly so. Depends on the dish. And like I said, I wouldn't have it with steak, but if I wanted to have a drink of it with a steak, it would hold up to it. It wouldn't pair well, but it would hold up to it. It wouldn't get lost with the steak.
Ooh, that's a very good question. Thank you.
I'm going to get to that as well.
Oh, yeah. The question was, this is Memorial Day weekend, and most of the reason why we're doing this, because everybody's going to be grilling. It's a kickoff to summer. What wine will people be drinking? And a lot of what we've already mentioned, if you're hanging out outside, and I don't know where you guys are, but in Virginia, it's already getting close to 90 degrees.
Oh.
I bet it's not too far off in Missouri, honestly.
There's no humidity in Missouri. I'm kidding. Yes, there's humidity there.
There's a lot. Exactly.
They have lots of rivers and woods everywhere. There's a lot of humidity there. Yes.
There is nothing wrong with grilling with a bubbly, sweet or dry, whatever your preference is. I don't have a whole lot of decorum in where or what I drink. It's what I enjoy at the time. So I prefer whites when it's hot out and I'm sitting out grilling or picnicking. So bubbly, any of what we've mentioned, the Viognier, the Vidal, the rosés, basically anything, honestly.
So the bubbly for me specifically, I'd stick with like the sausages, the grilling of the sausages, maybe with those. That spike the little creaminess of most of the bubblies that I'm putting some oak. That'll surprisingly hold up to sausages, even though they're more spicy and not spicy hot, like just spice. I think that would hold up well. But I'd stick with that with the whites. Ribs, depending on the sauce you're doing on them, you could probably do some bubbly and some whites with that. If you're looking for a red, though, I was going to say just a general summer drinker would be a lighter-bodied Pinot Noir. And once again, you're not looking for super 30-year aged Burgundies here. You're looking for light, fun. You can find some Pinots that have been given no oak treatment whatsoever. If the fruit is good and it's a stainless steel Pinot, there are a few of those, and off the top of my head, I can't remember the one that I like the most. But you get this juiciness to it, and it's real light. It's almost like, I'm going to say Kool-Aid, but it's not quite that sweet, but you get that vibrant fruit with that. Now, as far as you're getting into the heavier sauces for your ribs, or you're getting in burgers or even hot dogs, I really, really, really like a Sangiovese or Sangiovese heavy blends.
Wow. And
my favorite is, especially for summer, and I always have a bottle or two of this at the house, mostly unless we've consumed them, is the Ferrari Carano does a blend called Sienna. And it's a Sangiovese heavy. It looks dark and red, and it looks like it's intimidating, but it goes with almost anything. So a grilled burger, ordered pizza because everything went to hell and you had to just order food that night, or you designed to order pizza that night. But burgers, you can have it with a steak. You can have it with almost anything. And it's just light, it's fun, it's fruity, but it has tannin. It's got an acid backbone that'll go with it. It's Ferrari Carano. It's called Sienna, Siena.
He's going to get down right to the wine. You should write that down for
That is it. Yes, that is correct.
Very nice.
For me, that is a great red to have open. You don't even need a corkscrew. I generally pay somewhere between $16 and $18, depending on where I'm buying it, I believe. I've seen it on sale for a little bit less here and there, but it's generally in the $15 to $18 range. But nice little wine. Like I said, you're going to get vanilla, you're going to get fruit, you're going to get tannins. It's going to hold up. There's plenty of acid backbone to hold up with food. No cork. Just twist that cap off and go. You can drink it right out. You can paper bag it like 40s and just pass them out to your friends when they arrive for the barbecue.
Oh, here we go. Not quite brown bagging it, but you could. And I think I always think about the weather to first pair, because before I start eating, I'm drinking. It's just the reality of it.
Sure.
So I think lighter first, and then definitely highly tag on to what Stub is saying about pairing with the food. When we get into the heavier meat dishes, like the burgers and any of the pork products, also I would recommend something from Southern Rhone. The blends that they have going on there, they can be, if they're younger, they're going to be lighter, and they're going to be nicely fruit forward for you. So that's an option. And I bet you could even, it's not recommended to chill, but I bet you could put it in the fridge for a little while to keep it get it a little cooler if your guests prefer that.
Yeah, and also keep in mind, I mean, we typically will serve whites too cold and reds too warm. And a good rule of thumb is, just in general for serving wine, is put a red in the fridge for 20 minutes before you pop it open, and pull a white out for 20 minutes before you pop it open. And you're going to get close enough on that. Now, if you pull a white out, it's bone cold. Yeah, just hold the bowl for a bit when you pour it. Don't pour a lot. It'll warm it up. It'll be fine. Now, especially in the summer with the reds, put those things in the fridge for 30 minutes or so, especially if you're going to be outside and the bottle's going to be sitting outside for a bit. Put them in the fridge for 20 minutes before you open them. They're going to be a little bit more refreshing. They're going to be, number one, and more appropriate, I'm sure. I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know about that. But
is that a criticism? Are we not funny enough? Or
are
you saying we're getting funnier? I really don't know.
Well, the more I drink, the funnier I get. But I have two more wine recommendations.
Let's do it.
I don't know how many more you have, but I've done all whites.
Okay.
Besides that bubbly rosé, the Cava rosé, I went all whites because that's just me in the summertime. The next one I've talked about quite a bit as well. It's the Vino Verde. Okay. And when I buy wine, I stay within the right varietal for the right region at my price point. So when I recommend things, I don't tend to recommend by brand, because I don't have a heck of a lot of brand loyalty.
Okay.
So I'm always willing to try something new. I know what it should taste like. And then if I find a producer that I really love, I keep going back and back and back. But I haven't found one that I'm just like, yep, at least not for Vino Verde.
Right.
But at the $8 to $12 price point of a Vino Verde, you're going to be very happy. Again, I love like a little bit of the stone fruit that you're going to get on that. So maybe a little bit of apricot to it, and then lots of acidity. And then it's called green wine. So you may taste a little under ripeness, but definitely not as strong as Sauvignon Blanc. And then the effervescence, very literally just effervescence, not bubbles, just like freshing, like a little bit flat seltzer water. That's what you're going to get out of Vino Verde.
Yeah,
so
that's a good way to describe it. Or maybe a mineral water.
Yeah, maybe a mineral
water. Not Perrier. Perrier is really heavily
intense.
Carbonated, but like Pellegrino, maybe a little bit like that.
Maybe a little bit
or like an Alka-Seltzer that you dropped in and walked to do something else and then came back to a little too late. Where there's just a little, I mean, not that anyone would need an Alka-Seltzer and forget to go back and get it.
All right. Well, definitely head out to the wine store. I mean, we've given you enough to fill your shopping cart. We will probably be here in the after show.
Yeah, we may be for a little bit, of course.
Yeah. All right. Tag, you're it. What's your next one?
Man, I brought the Sangiovese thing out with the that was my big surprise one, I think.
It did surprise me. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean I've hit the ones that are really, really my typical summer go-tos.
What about Syrah? You're a big Syrah fan.
I'm a huge Syrah guy. I'm not afraid to have a Syrah in the summer, but you think light and warm. I mean, Syrahs I really love with a steak. They're typically going to be heavier tannins. So that's not something like if I do that, I'm going to be having that late at night inside, like with my steak. So it's not like, so I think summer wines, I'm like, hey, we're out on the patio, we're out on the deck, or we're hanging out in the backyard. I don't know that I'm going to pour a big ass Syrah while it's 90 degrees and 80% humidity. You know, like that's just not what I'm going to.
I'm not going to be outside.
I mean, I offer pairings with all these, but also, like you said, like I think about the temperature, the time, what we're doing, and you know, the pairings are great. But you know, at the end of the day, look, you can drink a Syrah if you want. I'm not saying I haven't had a Syrah in the middle of summer, but it'd typically be in the air conditioning after I brought my steak in off the grill.
Very true.
So I don't think of it as a summer specific type of wine. There. I
lost my list already.
Uh-oh.
How did I do that?
Uh-oh.
Do I remember what it is? Oh, I do remember.
I actually do have one more that came to me today. Well, it's kind of a general rule. Oh. But if you have another one, go ahead.
I do have one more.
Go ahead.
So my 3 whites for the summer are always Sauvignon Blanc, Vino Verde, and a Gruner Veltliner.
Okay.
I love it, and you can really tell where my white palate is by all of these.
Yes.
Another cold weather. I would say that's cold weather because it's from Austria.
Cooler climate, yeah, absolutely.
Cooler climate. Yep. Another stone fruit, maybe even some apple on it. And I haven't tasted too many that have been oaked, but I've had a lot of stainless steel. I feel like they may try to oak it shortly, just to get some complexity to it. I mean, they do that with they can do that with Rieslings and Gewürztraminer, so why wouldn't you? But really light, really fun, and awesome to say. How often do you get to say Gruner Veltliner?
Gruner Veltliner. It sounds awesome. Yeah, it's like you're Kennedy and I am Berlin. Like, it's awesome.
And if you see it on a menu, you feel special about it because it's like, oh, there's something I don't get to taste very often. And sometimes, like me, I barely know how to say it. So if I go to a wine shop, I'm like, it's that white wine from Austria.
Right.
And they'll know.
And typically, I'll have to say this as well. If you find a Gruner on a shelf, like it's not going to be bad. You can have some that are, you know, less typical of the varietal, just like everything else. But Gruners, because especially if you find it on the shelf here in the States, like they're not so common here that there's going to be horrible ones on the shelf. And generally, the price is going to be, you know, it's going to be at a nice price for trying it, even if you've never tried it before.
Oh yeah.
So.
Absolutely. So give it a try. If you like acid, if you like light fruits, not huge fruit bombs, but if you like light fruits, apples and apricots and tropical to some of that apple, and acid, you can't lose. It's going to be sharp, crisp, and light, perfect for summer.
Yeah, I'll agree.
All right, what's your last one?
All right. It's quite a shock coming from me. I'm a big tannin acid head. I'm going to say that for the summer, very specifically, a sweet red with a slight chill on it is okay. And I will leave because I said this acid today, and I also say this. I tasted a sweeter red today with had an acid backbone that just made this wine sing. You know. Look, you're having a garden party, you're hanging out on the patio, or your cougar aunt comes to visit for, you know, your cousin's graduation or whatever. Pull out some sweet red wine and go to town. Just make sure it's got an acid backbone on it to carry it. And then you can pair that with pretty much anything you are throwing on the grill or pulling out of the oven or whatever. Like I said, everybody thinks I'm a fancy lad with wine, and I am a bit of a snob, and like, I will judge a wine, but I will also say, look, if you like this wine, drink it. I don't care.
True.
Doesn't mean I have to drink it. And I'll tell you objectively why it's good or bad, or why I think it's good or bad. Objectively. But there are wines that I know aren't the best made wines that I just enjoy drinking from time to time as well. And I would say generally a sweet red wine, if you can find one. Now, I'm not saying like a 12% residual sugar. Oh. You don't want actual Kool-Aid like my brother and I used to make it when we were kids. 1 cup of sugar? Nope, we're putting 2. So not like that, but a little chill on that. You're hanging out with friends. You're doing your thing. you know you're going to have a headache. It's like having those sweet shots when you go to the bar anyway. Just keep popping the bottles. They're generally pretty cheap. They're going to make for some great stories or, great never have I ever games or a great game of Cards Against Humanity or spin the bottle or strip poker. Whatever your choice of things are, that is gonna lead to some fun. And if you have some cougars around, it's gonna lead to a lot of fun. Trust me. Because as I've said before, a cougar never disappoints.
But especially not those thigh-high boots of Italy, or when you get them from the thigh-high. I couldn't believe you said that on national TV kind of thing. But
Was it national?
Regional TV? Either way.
Everyone says Italy's a boot. We all know Italy's a boot. Come on, let's edge it up a little bit.
There are some things we didn't even talk about, really. Big things that we didn't even talk about, like sangria. Mm-hmm. Summer wine. You can get it in the bottle as sangria, and I don't find those horrible. They're sweet.
Yes.
But you know what you're getting into. You put some ice on it, you put some ice in it, and then you put some fruit in it. Mm-hmm. You boost up the alcohol with maybe some Grand Marnier or something, and you have a really good really good summer drink right there.
Just add some juice. If you go down to Ingleside Winery, here on the Eastern Shore of Virginia, they sell a blue crab white, and they give you a recipe for sangria with it. Yeah, they have a blue crab red and white, and they give you recipes for that. And they don't add extra alcohol. I think they add fruit juice to it for their recipes, which are great. But yeah, don't be afraid to experiment. Now, don't pull that bottle you've been saving for 12 years and make a sangria out of it. Mm-hmm.
And you can use dries. Like, don't be intimidated to use a dry base to it.
I will say generally though, if you're adding stuff to your wine, let's not use a wine that costs over maybe $12 at the very most. Maybe get an $8 to $10 bottle at the most. Throw some fruit juice in there. Throw your fruit in there and do your thing.
Absolutely.
And I would say instead of the ice, freeze grapes or freeze other fruits and drop that in there. Drop the frozen fruits in there to keep it cold so you don't water it down.
That's true. Sometimes I like it watered down though. Yeah. Like, I don't know, because you want to get that mixture of water in there too as you're drinking outdoors and in the heat.
Well, especially if you're adding Grand Marnier to it. I mean,
get the real alcohol in there.
You're making the fanciest sangria ever with that.
Well, it's better than triple sec. That's just sweetener.
I don't even use Grand Marnier in my margaritas. I just add a little drop of triple sec there.
No. I get such a headache from the sweetness of triple sec. Grand Marnier doesn't do that to me.
All right.
But I also tend to make my sangrias with about, an $8 bottle of very dry red, very dry white. Sure. And then I will sweeten it with a little bit of the Grand Marnier and then a juice or a sparkling water or something like that. So I'm a little snobby like that, I guess.
That's not snobby. It's just fun.
It is fun. Two other things in line with the sangria. Wine slushies are huge.
I've tried this one time, and it was at the urging of a very insistent, very attractive woman at a party at my house.
Cougars always win.
And the rib says, make a slushie for her, and I did. I feel like it loses a lot because I feel like you need to put so much ice in there that it loses a lot of the fruit flavors or whatever. So it's, once again, you have to boost it with some juice or something else. The couple of times I've tried that, I was like, not my jam, not my thing, but yeah.
But to everybody's palate, I love the combinations of things that people are doing with the slushies. They're not just keeping it super sweet, which I've had at a lot of wineries. Like during the summertime, wineries will just put out slushies, and it's like sugar on top of their sweetest wine, and that's just ridiculous. There's people that are infusing herbs with it, infusing, maybe not super sweet berries like blackberries and blueberries, and then just using a dry rosé. To me, a rosemary blueberry rosé slushy sounds amazing.
If you want to get crazy,
all the time.
Yeah, well, of course. No, I'm saying, look, there's infinite things. I mean, we marinate meat and wine, we cook with wine.
I know.
Like, I'm not afraid to try things. I even if I don't like the idea from the beginning, such as the wine slushy, I've still tried it. Didn't love it. I just felt like I lost too much of the wine doing that.
But we have to remember, if we're hosting an event, the beverages of choice aren't always just for us. I mean, we
Also
always
true.
set the things
Also
aside
true.
that we like to have. Always have a bottle for yourself, just in case. But you try to, create this crowd pleaser, and that may be a sweeter sangria. It may be a wine slushy. So it's not always about us, unfortunately.
Also true. Or the cheap bourbon you poured into the expensive bourbon bottle and fool your friends.
Oh.
No, I don't do that. Come on. I would never do that. I would just serve them the cheap bourbon and be like, no, I'm out of everything else.
Too bad.
No.
And then fruit wines are also a very popular type for the summer. And I was just thinking about this because one of my favorite summer patio, I feel like something sweet, is watermelon wine.
Okay.
And I've gone through and I found one that I like. I've had about 10 different watermelon wines. They don't always come out really good.
Wow, I've only had one ever.
Oh yeah? Oh, I seek it out because I
available.
love watermelon.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
I don't like the watermelon beers that are out though. I've not liked any of those.
I haven't had a watermelon beer.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I've not had the watermelon wine though, and I would love to because of the old Tom T. Hawk song. Old dogs, children, and watermelon wine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like it's probably in that and strawberry wine. Probably in a lot of songs.
Also a song about strawberry wine, of course. Yeah.
And apple wine. Apple wine is super popular where we are.
Cherry wine, also in songs.
Oh, there you go. See?
Elvira, lips like cherry wine. Come on.
There you go. See?
Yeah. Now we're just going through fruit wine songs.
Nice. And that's right up your alley.
The summer wine.
So, before we close out, because we're close to the top of the hour.
I have one more too, but go ahead.
Oh, do you? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, no. Do it then. I made you think of things.
I'm trying to remember the pronunciation, which is why I was looking at my phone here. I wasn't ignoring the conversation.
Then I will talk about one thing that I have coming up, and then share your last wine.
Sure.
And then talk about anything you want to.
All
Just tease us a little bit, because everybody likes to be teased. So I've been doing Scope a Day in May, and we're about done with May. So I've created another challenge for myself and for anybody, because that's the way these challenges work. And I've gotten fancy and created a index card for this. It's called Sip This Summer. So it could be taken in terms of like sip this summer, like sip this for the summer, or this is what I'm sipping this summer. And it's all about just creating little videos, sharing what you're drinking this summer. What are you sipping on? Are you on the boat, on the bay, and you're drinking a beer? If it's something interesting and different, give it like 30 seconds, put it up on Twitter, put it up on Facebook, share what you're drinking so people know before they go and buy. I'm going to do this through June, July, and August. That's summer. And I look forward to sharing video-wise what I'm drinking this summer. Cool. So that's my big thing for the next couple of months.
Nice. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, my last summer wine thing. I did this a couple years ago. I tried it. I read about it. I tried it when I was doing my weekly Wine with Stub show. It's called, and once again, I'm trying to remember how I pronounced it, a calimocho. It is a Spanish. You take a Spanish Tempranillo wine you do ice, half of that glass with the Spanish Tempranillo, top the rest of it off with Coca-Cola, add a lime wedge. Works more beautifully than you would ever think as a cocktail. Yep.
Okay.
I've not made several of them since, but it is a refreshing drink. You get the sweetness, you get the tannin of the Tempranillo in there, even at the lower price point. A little bit of lime hints it up. Yeah, it's like a rum and coke for
a wine crowd.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's a surprisingly nice little drink. And when I did that, I got yelled at for it, but I made someone taste it. They're like, "Oh, that's actually not bad." Just
don't do an expensive Tempranillo. That's all. And there's plenty of them out there that are very, very nestled in that $8 price point.
Of course. Absolutely.
But that sounds like a
Bam.
perfect challenge for you. Not only make the drink, share how you make it, and then do it when a bunch of your friends are around and let them taste it and get the genuine reaction to it.
Perhaps. We might do that. We might be able to do that.
Yeah. I would like to see how people like actually react to it. Don't tell them what it is.
I'm not, oh, no, absolutely I won't. Nope.
I think that would be fun.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Nice.
So what big do you have something going on? What else is going on in your world? Share with the world.
You know, a lot of here and there. I can talk about this week, but I was on the TV this week in Roanoke, Virginia, which was cool.
Yeah.
A little show called Daytime Blue Ridge. It's kind of a, you know, lifestyle entertainment show. About a half hour. Best comparison I can make for it, it's like the fourth hour of the Today Show. Sort of like, it's sort of news, it's human interest, it's, you know, tips and tricks and things like that. But I was lucky to go down and be on there with Natalie and her co-host for the day, Tiffany. It sounds like, and she was tight-lipped, Natalie, the permanent host, because she lost her co-host last week. She left to move back to Chicago. Looks like she might have a new permanent co-host coming on, and I don't want to say much, but hopefully I can make this at least another time thing, if not a semi-regular thing.
Knock on wood.
But yeah, no, it's good. It was a good thing. I was on there for National Wine Day and poured some Italian wines from Santa Margherita. It was a fun time.
And what about You Don't Know Paso? Is that week 2 now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been driving all day, actually back from Southwest Virginia. I actually arrived here about 20 minutes before we started. So You Don't Know Paso is a show that I was involved with shooting and directing in January, February. We just released the second episode of that today. Second of 7 for the first season we've done. We get Paso Robles wine experts. We pour them a blind wine from Paso Robles, and we make them guess everything about it.
Yep.
For points and honor. And
bragging rights.
Hilarity ensues. Actually, that was one of the more fun things I've ever shot, to be honest with you, because we had a lot of people and a lot of back and forth, and you know, behind the scenes, people going, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't know this," or "I can't believe that you got that." Like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But
I can't wait to see the second one too. I'm excited about that.
Yes. So that's it. Yeah, that's kind of what I have.
Well,
right now.
That's enough.
Yeah, it's enough for now. Yeah.
So I think that kind of ends our summer wines. I feel like I'm summer ready with my wine selection. I don't know about the bikini, but at least my wine selection is summer ready.
I have to get a wax and a pedicure, and I'll be ready for the beach next week.
Oh,
hands down.
Thanks for that visual. I now need a mental scrub.
Oh, come on. Certainly you've been to the mini petty place and a dude's been getting a petty in there.
Yes, I have. So I want to thank everybody, not only that's watched live, but to everybody out in there in watching replays. I love to see people watching replays and enjoying what we're doing here. We do this every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then again at noon on Fridays. Different topics, new guests. Too. Next week, we're going to have a chef in the house. So Chef Dennis will be with us, maybe doing a demo, a food demo, or just sharing with us his recipe and what he's eating, making us drool. So that should be exciting for next week.
Cool.
Other than that, from Jen from Wine Antics and
Stub and Pork Envy. Yeah.
Have a great night and have a great week. Bye.
Cheers.